Macros, Mindset, and Muscles.
I'm Coach James.
And I'm Coach Brittany.
We're here to give you the truth about health and fitness.
No gimmicks, no bullshit, just facts. Just ignore James. That noise you hear is him rubbing his nose all over the microphone, and we're live. So we're going to go ahead and keep that part in this episode so we all can hear what I have to deal with on a regular basis.
That's rude.
Your face is rude.
Your face is rude.
So
Are we really live?
Yeah. So we want to take this time to...
Just let me sit and scratch my nose with the microphone.
I literally said that we were live, and you kept doing it, so it's not my fault that you don't listen.
We're having a lovely day today, if you can't tell. A lot of great communication.
James is great at communication.
Bouncing ideas off each other's foreheads. It's going great.
Anyways, we want to just say thank you for being patient and sticking around and listening to our episodes. We haven't been consistent. A lot of life stuff has been going on. We are finding our routine. So again, just thank you for sticking it out and listening.
Well, there's been some major changes, like moving, careers, redoing the gym, Phoenix headquarters.
Yep. Taking on more clients, getting those clients started.
And they are the number one priority.
Yeah, our clients are always going to take priority over other things. There's always projects that we're working on, and we always give, our clients the attention they deserve, and that's why we don't take on an unlimited number of clients as well.
All right.
That's right. So today we wanted to go into workout discussion. Most people will seek out a coach, or, they'll... What the fuck are you doing?
Oh my God. The way you said coach. A coach. Most people search out a coach.
Okay, James.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is supposed to be serious. Go ahead.
So now I'm doing all the work by myself. Awesome. That's pretty much our relationship. That's cool. Glad you could be here. So this is the Brittany show now. James is no longer welcome. Anyways, discussing workouts and how you should build them, because everybody gets confused on how to structure their workouts. What days do I work? What muscle groups? And what exercises do I choose? It's all dependent on your program. Like a 5-day program will look different from a 3-day program or a 2-day program. And from person to person, you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses and what areas need work and which areas need a little less work. So balance. The biggest thing I can say when creating workout plans for clients is I always start with big movements. So big compound movements like squats and deadlifts, bench presses, bent over rows, pull-ups, push-ups, things that use multiple joints and muscle groups, not just isolation exercises like a tricep press machine or a bicep curl or leg curls, things like that. Those are all isolated movements, and those should come later in the workout. So your big movements is where you're going to burn the most calories. It's going to require the most energy to complete that lift also. So when you think about, a squat versus a leg extension, if you're squatting 200 pounds, that's going to take a lot more energy than, leg extending 50 to 100 pounds because it's so isolated. In a squat, you're using a whole lot of muscle groups. It's not just your quads, whereas the leg extension, it's quad focused. Am I doing this by myself, really?
Well, you sounded really, really, really educated when you were saying it, and I didn't want to mess it up. Thank you for staring me straight through my soul as I'm talking. Thank you. No, I agree. And I see people do different programming where the big movement is in the middle of the workout, which I've tried that. I'm not a fan of it. I'd rather do it at the beginning and then the isolation exercises. That way I'm focusing on them. But for the big movements, getting them out of the way and finish exhausting it with the smaller movements.
See, I mean, like, think
Stop
about
staring at me, bro.
Like, bro, you're sitting across the table from me. What am I supposed to look at?
I don't know, man.
Your fucking head is so shiny and big.
God. This is a family-friendly show, and you're dropping F-bombs.
This is an explicit show, and it states that in the podcast platforms.
Yeah, we do have a warning.
So, sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
That's my language. I was in the Navy, and I cuss.
Say what she said.
Anyways, big movements, they tax your central nervous system. So you're not just doing these big movements for a pump or, to feel that burning sensation in your muscles. You're actually like fatiguing your nervous system, which is why it's important for you to save your energy for those lifts and do them first versus last.
And that's why you shouldn't be doing those lifts every day. I mean, that can drain the mess out of you. Trying to do those big movements every single day and pushing that weight, it will take its toll on you, and your recovery will be horrible.
Pretty much.
I've tried it. I tried it in the early days when I didn't know any better.
Oh, what, like squatting? I know how much you love to squat.
Yeah, I was squatting every day. Actually, I was pulling these 2-a-day squat days, and man, it was just brutal.
I've seen how you squat. This is specifically how you throw yourself on the couch. So I call bullshit. I wave the bullshit flag.
You're brutal today. My shiny ass head, my horrible squats.
Your big ass nose brushing against the microphone.
Look at your Google Map forehead right now with some veins popping out.
Pop it.
Jeez. But no, I did it with back stuff. So like when I was trying to learn to be able to do more pull-ups, I was doing pull-ups to failure every day, and then noticing like I would do less pull-ups and less and less, and then mentally I couldn't tap into it. Like I could not. It's hard to explain. Like when your nervous system is taxed out, like being able to, that firing mechanism just wasn't there. It was just like I don't want to do this now. Okay, I said what I said.
That's it? You were telling a story, and it was incomplete.
What story?
The story you just told.
That was a complete story. I was trying to do more pull-ups. I was doing them like every day, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And then later on, as I got smarter, and I learned not to do that anymore.
Okay. Period.
And 2-a-day squat days were, oh my God, every day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I grew this. this girlish figure.
Don't worry, I'll show y'all leg pictures later. I'll post it on my stories.
Wow. I mean, there's just some lines you don't cross, and you just crossed it.
I mean, you took a picture with me, so.
Yeah, as a joke.
Yeah, well, joke's on you.
I didn't know you were going to blackmail me on the interwebs.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, anyways, when you're programming for yourself, you want to pick big movements and do those first. So let's just give an example. On a leg day, okay? On a leg day, maybe you do like a barbell back squat and like a Romanian deadlift and a hip thrust. Like you do those movements first, and then you move to like smaller accessory movements like calf raises or glute kickback, an abduction machine, leg curls, leg extensions, like those things. Those are what you want to do towards the end. On a back day, like James had said, pull-ups. Pull-ups is a big movement. Start with pull-ups. And even if you start with pull-ups, that'll kind of warm you up a little bit for like bent over rows. And then from bent over rows, you'd want to go to something like a lat pull down or a seated row. Like it really just depends on what you need to target specifically. A coach can help you with these areas that like you need to target. It might be harder for you to learn that initially on your own, but it's not an impossible thing to do.
Yeah.
Like a push day, you got chest, shoulders, things like that. You get a barbell overhead press, dumbbell overhead press, bench press, dumbbell or barbell, like either or a combination of both. Go ahead. I know you want to say something.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay, fine.
But no, you're right. And the way that you're going to program is going to all depend on how many days that you can dedicate to working out. You can have the best 5-6 day programming, but if you're only able to work out 2 of those days, then it's not ideal for you.
Yeah,
you're not going to reap the benefits of that. So if you say you only do 2 or 3 days, then you may do better with 3 full body days where you're having limited sets and reps and targeting different muscle groups on those days, just to be able to hit the whole body and get that covered in the minimum amount of time that you have.
and this is actually like when we take on new clients, one of the things that we discuss before we program for new clients is how many days a week can they work out? Like, how many days a week can you work out? Don't tell me the answer that you think you need to say or the answer that you think is right. Like, if 5 to 6 days is something that you absolutely know you cannot commit to, don't tell me 5 to 6 days. If it's only 2 days, it's only 2 days. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, there's no wrong answer. Just getting your body like moving more and getting a consistent routine is more important than bullshitting it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just bullshitting it, you're not being honest with yourself. And this journey requires you to be honest with yourself and, have those hard reality checks.
Yeah. I mean, someone may have the best intentions. They may be gung ho in their head. They're like, you know what? I can make this happen. I can make it happen 5 days, 6 days a week. And then the workouts start. And it's a little different story when you go from 0 to 100 like that. Mm-hmm. And your body is sore, you're tired. Next thing you know, this life thing happens is work. You have a rough day at work.
Somebody called in sick and now you got to pick up their shift, or you got to stay late, or maybe the kids had to go to the doctor for something unexpected.
Yeah.
The dog started throwing up hair ties.
Yeah. And life is going to show up either way. So it's better to ease into it, because it's happened countless times where people are like, I can do this. I can do 5 days a week. And you start off, and the first 2 weeks they did like maybe 1 day that week, or 2 days that week, or 3 days that week, whatever it was. It was.
And that's, and like, as a coach, we're not here to judge anybody for how many days a week they work. Like, if I get somebody that comes to me never working out and they're consistently hitting 2 days a week and they're walking, other days of the week, like, I'm perfectly happy with that. My exercise routine, my exercise regimen doesn't have to be yours, and vice versa. Like, we're all different, and my life revolves around fitness. That's what I do for a living. I work from home. I train people from my home, and I train people all over the world. So this is what I do for life. And what I do is not realistic for every client. And I think every client would speak for me and say that, like, I am very open that, pick something that you can stick to.
Right. Fitness is not everyone's life. Like you're saying with us, it's a little different story. Like, in the mornings I work for a fitness company, and then I also train and then coach online and mobility stretching. And so everything I do is around the fitness and nutrition and health. 24 hours I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff in this house we do.
Yeah. And I mean, you're right. Like, that's what we do. Like, literally, like, every conversation that I have throughout the day is mostly related to health and fitness. I mean, I do my mom duties and stuff like that too, and I take care of the house, but my professional life is all health and fitness. So,
and we understand that people want to do these things. They may want to get in shape or work out for that benefit. They don't care anything else about making it their life, their life revolve around it, because they have their own life. They have their own career. They have their own friends. Not everybody wants to talk about macros, mindset, and muscles 24/7. But we're a little different breed. Two of us, our conversations typically revolve around it.
even amongst each other, we will have random debates. This is why we started the podcast, because we'd have a workout or whatever, and we would discuss certain things related to the fitness industry and how we felt about this or that, or like our ideas on coaching. And then we're like, hey, we should do a podcast. And here we are.
Yeah. And just seeing the trainers and coaches that, and I've come into contact with hundreds of local coaches and trainers, and sadly, I don't agree with a lot of the practices and the way that they are. I'm not saying there's not good ones out there in the Memphis area. I'm sure there are, and there are a couple that I do know. But in general, I think we make a point to go above and beyond and to give our clients what nobody else can and or will.
And that's not just locally though. Like, and that's the problem with the fitness industry is like you have coaches, like you have really good coaches, and then you have coaches that are still spreading misinformation and selling, fake results. And I say fake results, like they're not fake, they're real results, but they're not obtained in a sustainable way. Like I could take any client and diet them extremely and have them lose a lot of weight. But if I don't teach them the habits to sustain that weight loss,
right,
then it's pointless, because they're just going to gain the weight back and they're going to revert to old habits. Like you can't do this without changing.
Right. Our clients' health and wellness is our number one priority, and longevity. So we don't take on competitors or people that are doing these extreme dieting, even though that we do as a hobby participate in bodybuilding. We do not advocate that to our clients because it's not healthy in the long run for someone to apply those strategies as a lifestyle.
Yeah. And really, like a lot of lifestyle clients, like a lot of clients that we work with, honestly, have had issues with disordered eating habits in the past. And the last thing you want to do is somebody who has worked through those issues is put them or encourage them to be in a situation where those habits are triggered, those behaviors are triggered. But that's a whole nother episode, because we're talking about exercise workout today and how to structure your workout. So let's bring that back around.
Yeah, bring it back around to structuring your workouts. I personally like to have something light, whether it's exercise that's a lighter weight with higher reps, or some type of moving around to kind of warm up before I start working out. Before I do my big movement, that just helps the blood get flowing. You may have been sitting at work all day. You may have just woke up. I always felt like I'm able to do those lifts better once I got a little blood pumping.
So one thing that I do, and I've been doing with my clients in person for years now, I have them do just a small little warm up. It usually takes 10 minutes tops. And we start with like a 5-minute walk, and they're increasing that incline, every 30 to 45 seconds. And then after the 5-minute walk, we go through just like a small little list of exercises. They're dynamic warm up exercises. So like they warm up your body, your muscle groups, like, hey, we're about to do some work here, like wake up. Static stretching is no good before your workouts. It actually can lead to injury. Static stretching, for those of you who don't know, is like, okay, we're going to sit on the ground and we're going to reach out, we're going to grab our toes, and we're going to hold that for 15 to 30 seconds. So like holding a stretch is static, aka cold stretching. And that's what you want to do after your workout. So before your workout, dynamic only, and that's things like jumping jacks, body weight squats, like overhead band pulls. So you're warming up your back, your lats, your shoulders, front band pulls. So you're like holding a band in front of you and you're pulling out to the side. So you're warming up your shoulders and your chest. Some core work. And when I say core work, I don't mean sit-ups or crunches. It's actually like worst exercises, in my opinion, that you can do for core work. Your core is not all about your abs. It's about your pelvic floor, your glutes. It's your trunk in general. And those exercises, you're great at targeting the abs, but there's more to it than that. So you want to have a stable lower back and a stable pelvic floor, especially for my ladies out there, my postpartum ladies and women in general. So things like bird dogs and dead bugs. I won't go through the whole list, but those are just a couple things that you can do like for your core that aren't crunches or sit-ups. And they won't, if you have issues with ab separation, then, those types of exercises won't hurt you.
Maybe we should have an episode just like a ladies in general, like for women. We can go through their like menstrual cycles, that kind of talk. We can go through some of those things that you just mentioned, and I mean, I'll just be an observer, or every now and then I go, that's right,
that's right,
that's right.
That's definitely on the plan. So
we got about a 10-minute warm up or 5-10 minute, whatever
just enough to warm up,
just to get the blood flowing. Hit you a compound movement.
Now, on your compound movement, we can talk about that. Your first movement. Say you're doing a squat.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You can do a couple warm-up sets. And you should. You should, like, if you're going in and you're doing a set of 5 and you're working at 85% of your max, you don't want to go straight from nothing to 85% of your max. Like, you want to warm up to that. So, maybe you do a set of 10, which is the bar. And then you throw on a couple other plates. And then you do, like, a set of 6 or 8. Then you drop down to 5 at a lower weight. Then you go into your working sets.
Yeah, working sets are going to be the ones that you're actually counting, the ones that you are applying the most energy on.
In your working sets, you should choose weights that challenge you, but like sets that challenge you enough to where you're almost at failure when you get to the last rep. If it's too easy, and you're not like almost failing at the last rep, then you need to go up in weight. You shouldn't be increasing your weight every single set on your working set. Your working set should be consistent across the board.
And I can see where, like, with a big movement like squats, even bench press, things like that. If you're working out alone, that can be scary trying to push toward, where you may have two reps left, and on that last one, you're like, struggling, and you got 2 more reps. Like, how far do you push it? Like, you need to make sure that you're set up. Either you have a spotter, or you're in a rack that has spotter arms, spotter straps, something like that. So if for any reason you need to bail, that you cannot get it, that you will not injure yourself.
Correct. And this go, like he said, like bench pressing, squatting, like in the rack and using the safety arms and setting them in a position. Bench pressing is a little trickier because you have to be able to bring the bar down to your chest. So those arms have to be low enough for that, but also at the same time, they have to be high enough that if you do get to a point where you're in trouble, like you have to be able to get out from under the bar. So, and, as women, like we have boobs. So sometimes they get in the way. Well, so you just have to play with like a light bar and see what the good setup is for you. And then make note of it. And
then there's also workarounds too, because as somebody who trained alone, majority of the time, I avoided bench press. I avoided all these because I do like to push myself as hard as I can. So instead of doing a barbell, I would use dumbbells. If for some reason I could not get the rep or whatever with dumbbells, it's no big deal. I can just drop them down. Nobody dies. I'm not choking. It didn't hit me in the chest. Like, it's not that big of a deal. There are machines. You can always use machines if we don't prefer them.
Well, if you're doing machines, then those wouldn't be your first exercises. We would move to those later in the workout.
No, but okay. Well, if you go to a gym and all the bench presses are taken up and all the dumbbells are taken up and if
you go to a gym and all the dumbbells are taken up, get a new gym.
All the benches are taken up. Folks be taking them benches.
Bitches be crazy.
Bitches be crazy. But bitches come back.
All right, so we've discussed warming up and properly setting up. So let's talk about like splits a little bit, because this is one thing. Like, what should my split be? Like, your split, honestly, is not as important as you think it is. As long as you're consistent and you're hitting muscle groups multiple times a week, and by multiple, I mean at least 2 times a week. So if you're working out 2 times a week, then you probably need to do a full body routine 2 times a week. Because if you're doing one upper day and one lower day 2 times a week, then you're only hitting upper body 1 time a week and lower body 1 time a week. So 2 in that case would be better than 1.
Yeah. So
if you're working out 3 days a week, like James had said, 3 full body days might be beneficial for you. Depending on the type of person that you are, you might benefit from like a push-pull legs type of split also. 4 days a week, not uncommon, upper, lower, upper, lower. I actually like using like push, pull, legs, and full body with some of my clients, but some also do better with upper, lower 2 times a week. So there's that. And then you get into like 5 and 6 days. And this is where you can have more like bodybuilding style splits. If you're lacking in an area, like if your lats need work, then you can, target your lats a couple times a week, give enough rest in between those days so you have time to recover, but you're still hitting what you need to hit multiple times a week. You got anything to add?
no, I mean I agree with that, and that's where a coach actually really comes in handy because they will know how to program based on how many days you have available toward your goal. So they will make it as efficient as possible for you to reach that goal as quickly and as safely as possible. I was just thinking, so we got the warm up, we got the compound lift, and then we go to the isolation stuff. So I know you went to like the splits, but if you're using a compound movement, you're already using multiple muscle groups. So you get your big lift. You said squat, so we'll stick with squat. Once you did your squats, then move on to how many isolation movements? 2 or 3?
Ish. I mean, it kind of depends on the
How much
person,
time they have.
the time and the split too. Because if you're working out, if you have legs multiple times a week, you might not have to hit as many isolation.
All right. Well, let's keep it really simple for them. They're doing a push pull leg. They're doing a 3-day rotation.
Okay.
It's their leg day. They're doing squats as a compound.
Well, we would want to hit multiple compounds because we would want to hit like a squat movement. We'd want to hit a hinge movement. We want to hit a hip thrust movement too. So you have those multiple types of movements because a squat and a hinge are not the same thing. So
no, they're not.
Different areas. So like a squat, you're targeting the front side of your legs, where a hinge, you're targeting your posterior, your back side. So those are, they all need to be included when you only have like one leg day a week.
Well, but so many people think that
it doesn't have to be a heavy, like you could go like 1 week, say if you're doing a push-pull legs, 1 week you could go heavy like on a squats, and then maybe you do like a dumbbell deadlift or something, and then the next week you flip it and you do like a barbell deadlift and you do squats with a dumbbell. So like you can play with it and you can tweak it based on what you feel like you need.
I was just thinking, so many people say, "Oh, I'm gonna get back in shape. I'm gonna start going to the gym," and they just blindly go in and they just blindly just go from one thing to maybe something else. This looks kind of cool. I'm gonna do this, and
zero structure,
and without a plan without a plan at all. And going to the gym, yes, you'll get more active and things like that, but it's a very too simple simplification for what we as coaches do, because we are very specific. Now you may get your workout plan like, oh, well, it's just my leg day. This is my leg day. Well, there's it is designed a specific way, hitting certain groups. The rest periods are even considered in everything that we are doing, and it's all by design. So I don't know. I think
programming is
it's an art.
It is an art. It's very complex, but it shouldn't keep you from
being active.
It shouldn't keep you from trying to put together your own program, you know? And I know I always answer any question that's asked of me. Like, obviously, I'm not going to give away my coaching for free. But if you're like, hey, like, I have this many days to work out, what split should I do? I will gladly tell you, you know, like, well, you could do this, or you could do this. Like, I'm not, you know, I will help you as much as I can without, you know, dishonoring my clients by giving away what they pay for.
Right.
So, you know, don't be afraid to ask questions.
Also, like if someone has a coach or a trainer and then they come to me and ask me certain questions about this or that, well, my coach has got me doing this. Well, I may not know the whole story, so I'm not going to go against what some coaches has them doing for whatever reason. I may encourage them to talk to their coach.
Yeah.
And for them to ask them why, you know, for whatever reason they got them doing this versus that.
And if your coach can't answer why, get a different coach.
Red flag.
Yeah. Like, that's a red flag. Like, we're not in this generation anymore where do what I say because I say so. Like, there's scientific reasons and research for everything. And if your coach can't explain it to you, that to me, like, is a huge red flag.
And some of them have no idea. They have no idea. They've got this little cookie cutter program that they've gotten off a line.
Or they competed and then they got their coach's program and then they're just selling their coach's program.
That is very common.
That is so common.
And I've seen them. I've known some of these people, and they become a coach, and they're turning around. And I used that coach at one time. They're the coach that they used. And they're just turning around selling that coach's program as their own. And as a result, because they're not knowledgeable, they hurt some people. Some people got, you know, their health was affected by this person's lack of education and experience.
Coaching is an art. It really is. Like, coaching, there's so much more to it than just telling somebody what to eat or what to do. Like, you have to be able to explain the science. You have to be able to know why you're doing things a certain way. You have to know why you changed macros a certain way. You have to know when to increase macros and know when enough dieting is enough dieting. You have to know when to tell your clients that it's time for a deload week. And guess what? Your clients might not be receptive to that, but they might need it.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to be able to explain why this is important and why they're feeling this way. And if you coach women, you better be ready to talk about periods, and you better understand how periods affect a woman's training.
Period.
So that's a big, I mean, there's a lot that goes into coaching. But again, like, you shouldn't let the fear that, like, keep you from the gym. Like, if you can't afford a coach, you can't afford a coach. But you can still create a solid program for yourself.
Yeah. With a warm-up, hit you a compound movement, a couple isolation movements. I mean, and then the longer you keep doing this or stay in it, the more you'll learn and the more that you can apply to your program. I never had anybody help me in the early days. It was all trial and error. It was YouTube. It was Google, a lot of YouTube, and just trying different things out. And I learned everything the hard way. I learned what overtraining is like, doing all those 2-a-days. Well, you know, I suffered from it. There's no telling how much further progressed I could be right now if I had had someone, a coach that could have taught me early on how to do this the right way. But, I mean, that's not how I learn. It seems like I like to make the mistake and then learn from it then. So,
yeah, I'm
make my mistake.
I'm a doer too. Like, I'm a hands-on learning type of person, and I'm the same way. Like, I mean, I went through my journey the first 5 years without a coach, and I got a coach right before I decided to prep for my first show. And granted, like I had lost almost all of my weight on my own, but just having that extra accountability, it took me to like another level.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely did. It's different. Like I said, early on, the first year or two, I made a lot of mistakes. I did a lot of overtraining. I remember going to the gym twice a day. I mean, I even remember there were days I went 3 times a day. I mean, just like thinking the more lifting I did in the gym, the better results I was going to get, which is the exact opposite. I mean, that is not the case. And
rest is important too, and that's something that we will do a whole episode on.
If I'd have had
because you just don't realize the importance of that.
If I had rested and dialed in my nutrition, just a little tweak, like somebody's like, hey, that's not right. Then, oh man, because I put on weight, I put on size, but then I put on too much weight. And looking back at it, I don't know. We all learn from our experience, though.
Yep, and you will learn from yours too. So that pretty much wraps up what we were discussing today, which is exercise programming.
We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, just programming efficiently for yourself. And I know we didn't get too specific because we can't really get too specific because every person is different. Mm-hmm. You will have to pay attention to your body. You will have to learn where your body lacks. And that's can be hard at first, but if you keep going, you will see what those areas are. I'm
just glad to have y'all back. You know what I mean? Like, I missed y'all.
I mean, they didn't go anywhere. We did.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry. I'm glad we're back.
I'm glad we're back too. So again, thank you for your patience while we navigate through this these life changes and everything. And we hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Until next time.
I'm James.
Thanks for listening to Macros, Mindset, and Muscles. Until next time.
I'm James.
I'm Brittany. We're out.